Hey guys, I just got back from the Olympia last night and I'm here to make a video regarding the Washington Post article that was posted on the day of the Olympia and another one that was posted today about me. So I knew that when I went against the Washington Post that there would be a big target on my back. And after speaking to my lawyers and weighing out the pros and the cons, I decided that it was the right thing to do to defend the NBC and the IFBB Pro League because I knew the truth, I knew the facts, I knew what the IFBB Elite and the Washington Post were conspiring together, and that everything they mentioned was, it was basically a hit piece on our bodybuilding federation. And it wasn't right for me not to defend them, so I decided to do it, even though I know that there would be consequences. But knowing that I have no skeletons in my closet that I'm afraid of coming to light, I had no problem accepting the potential backlash that I could experience. And the backlash, if you want to call it that, has come to light today. And I'm here to just take it apart quickly because it's a really stupid story. It's not well done. I'm going to address the post that they made about the Manions again on the Olympia Day, obviously strategically planned to try to cause stress at the Olympia because these people are real pieces of shit with nothing better to do. And, I actually asked a reporter, she called me 3 times in the last 2 days, asked me tons of questions. And at the end of our phone conversation, I asked her, I said, Jen, why do you do this? Like, do you get up in the morning and have excitement to try to hurt people and try to ruin people's lives and try to just talk badly about people? And I'm just like, is this fulfilling to you? Like, honestly speaking, person to person, like not reporter to whatever. Like, and she kind of didn't really have an answer, and she's kind of just like, I'm sorry you see it like that. I'm like, Jen, you know what you're doing, you're partnering with the IFBB Elite to try to hurt the IFBB and me and everyone else, and this is your only goal. And like, I'm like just like asking her, like, sincerely, like, does this make you happy? And she's just like, it's my job. And it's sad that people have jobs where they just wake up every day and they just want to hurt people. And and this is her, and this is the other people at the Washington Post involved in this article, because they don't give a fuck about you guys. They don't care about bodybuilding. They don't care about athletes dying backstage, and they don't care about drug usage, and they don't care about any of this shit. They only care about hurting us as a federation and the coaches and the athletes. That's all they give a fuck about. And and I asked her about that, and she didn't even have an answer because she knew exactly what she was doing, and I just called her out on it because it's fucking pathetic at the end of the day. So anyways, I'm going to try to make this quick video. It's not going to be an hour video. So firstly, I did my own research on this Jen person that works for the Washington Post, and I'm not trying to be political here, but she's like a very far left leaning liberal. So I mean, I looked at a few articles she's done, and like this one is like the Capitol mob, a raging collection of grievances and delusionment drawn by Trump. The rioters came from all over, angered by mass lockdowns and the election. And you have like a big Trump flag here. Like, she's a far left liberal, and her goal, she's very woke, and she tries to just bring people down. So this is the article that was released on the day of the Olympia. It says "Rigged and the Undoing of America's Premier Bodybuilding League," and it's a long article of just garbage. And basically, the summary is that they're saying that the NBC and the IFBB Pro League was a non-profit organization, and Jim Manning took over and made it a for-profit organization, and there's corruption and blah blah blah. I personally want this federation to be a for-profit organization. It's much better for the athletes. It's much better for the coaches. It's much better for the promoters of the show. These people, the IFBB, the Pro League, the Manions, you want them to be making money, right? They're going to put a lot more effort into these shows. You guys, athletes, going to get a lot more bang for your buck. You guys, that's a lot more prestige. If they're just working their entire life in a non-profit organization, right, and this is their main source of, I guess, income, we would be getting a lot less out of this. And capitalism is important, and I would never shun them for trying to make money off all of their hard work that was built over the last 60 years. It's fucking ridiculous. And of course, the people that they interview in this article was people I mentioned in my last Washington Post article: Wayne DeMilia, Jim Rockell. Like, look at this. Like, of course, like I guys, I told you exactly how all this shit was ran, and they were mentioning Jim Rockell here and Wayne DeMilia, and it's exactly the names that I said in the first article. And this is, obviously they're using the same people again from the IFBB, and they're saying that the IFBB was founded in 1946 and Wayne DeMilia went there, blah, blah. Guys, IFBB Elite was founded in 2017, 2018. It's garbage. The NBC and the IFBB Pro League, once again, was founded in 1946, and this is why they're part of the Arnold and the Olympia, and this is the only prestige league. Now, I'm going to get into the article about me quickly. Once again, it's sad that they're trying to use this girl and what happened to her to try to hurt me and try to hurt the industry, and I'm going to tell you guys the facts because I have the facts of what happened. So, firstly, it's a, it's a hit piece, obviously, and the title is just kind of like a gaslighting, attention-seeking title. So, coach until she collapsed. An aspiring bodybuilder is now on life support. So it goes into basically saying my client Neggy collapsed because of drug usage and doing 2 hours of cardio and being on low food and all this stuff, and it's my fault, blah blah blah, right? What happened is fucking terrible, and I love Neggy, and she's such a good person, and I really, what happened is so fucking sad, and I really hope it happens to nobody. But I'm gonna explain to you guys what actually happened. Despite this article not wanting to tell the truth and just kind of bullshitting, fabricate some type of image that I tried to kill my athlete, right? So what happened was that she was in peak week for a show, and we were doing a carb up, and her blood sugar rose and it fell, and she fell on the floor, hit her head, and then was laying on the floor for 8 to 10 hours, and no one found her, right? Some object was blocking her airway to her brain, and it put her into a coma. And the doctors said that if someone found her like any earlier, she would have been perfectly fine. If she wasn't living alone, she would have been perfectly fine, and that she basically might have went hypoglycemic, which is something that could happen to absolutely anyone in prep. It could happen to anyone not in prep. It's just, if your blood sugar drops, basically very important to monitor this. So I might make a video just in general, kind of explaining hypoglycemia and ways to avoid it and understand the symptoms of it, so something like this never happens to anyone again. But so I'm going to show you a conversation I had with her best friend, who texted me as soon as he found out what happened. And, he actually spoke to the doctors on like the Washington Post, and he actually knows what happened and told me what happened. He messaged me here, and he goes, she's alive. She's in a coma. She has a heartbeat. She got her supplements from her brother and stuff. I don't know if you know something. I should be passing into hospital. So basically, he was saying that she got her PDs from her brother, and he asked me if I knew anything else that she was taking. What did he give her? He says, I don't know basic stuff. He says they were saying that her blood sugar was probably dropped and she fell and hit her head to the ground, but because no one checked on her for 24 hours, plus there's a blood clot in her head, and that's what caused her to go in a coma. I let her family know it's nothing on your side at all. It's normal, I think, but if someone was there when this happened, she would have been fine, the hospital said. He spoke to the doctors, and they said if she didn't live alone and someone found her, she would have been perfectly fine. But since she was laying on the floor for so long, hit her head and had damage from, I guess, the floor or something, whatever she hit, and something was physically blocking her airway to her brain, that's what sent her in a coma. So if you want to blame that on me, then that's fine. And I feel fucking terrible for what happened because I love Neggy, but I don't think it's my fault as a coach as far as this freak accident, and what happened. And these bodybuilders that are dying and, that we all talk about, it's all with heart attacks, people. It's because of like diuretic usage and being too big, etc. And usually it happens on show day, and they're having heart attacks. No one's ever just fell and had something blocking their brain and sent them into a coma because of freak accident. That's not something. This is something new that's happened. That can literally happen to your mom or anyone, or your grandma that lives alone, etc. And then it kind of goes to say in the article that she was telling me that she was dizzy and tired and blah blah. And I'm going to show you the last conversations that we had between me and Neggy in our check-in chat. She goes, hi, dear James. Hope you're doing well and spend a wonderful vacation. I was wondering about my weight because I'm 100% on my diet and I do cardio 3 grams per day. My skin isn't thick like before. It changed. I'm still on the same weight. And she goes, I got so much energy. Difference between 1 year and a half. And she shows her transformation, right? And then number two, I said tomorrow check-in, then have 100 grams of rice times 2. Then I want to see how you look Wednesday. Thank you. Sure, I'll do everything. And then we just talk about what show she's doing. So I had to reduce her cardio already by half at this point, and we were giving her a carb up. Okay. And then the next day she goes, I just checked my fasted weight. I'll take pictures, send them. And then we planned to do nationals the week before. So carbing up, her cardio was really reduced, and this happened. So the Watch Post again, they're trying to blame it on drug usage and PDs and me trying to starve my athletes, and it's fucking bullshit, guys. But this is they're using pictures of this girl and her in a hospital bed and trying to talk to her family and all this bullshit to try to. They don't give a fuck about Neggy, which just pisses me off so much. All they care about is trying to hurt me in the IFBB in the Pro League. And her best friend, the one who sent me the DMs before, he sent me a text message this morning. He said, dude, I'm guessing one of your haters paid a dumb bitch of the Washington Post to make a bunch of bullshit up, and her family fell for it. I try my best to let everyone of their bitch asses was there for her, and she would have been fine. Shake my head. People are so shitty. Diet and subs is part of the game. Neggy would have been pissed to see this. And I just want to mention too, like her family, like nothing on her family, but they went into her Instagram and deleted all of her bodybuilding pictures and everything because they're ashamed of her bodybuilding because they're from Iran and unfortunately part of the Islamic regime. So bodybuilding is frowned upon there. So they came here and deleted all of her fucking posts and all of her hard work that she did that obviously she wanted to be on display. So anyways, that's another issue. But her best friend is fucking pissed about this. But her family obviously took control of her Instagram account and, decided to make that judgment call. So he says that he hasn't really talked to them, since they were here. And he told them that, I made a large donation to her family and to try to help the medical expenses, even though it wasn't my fault, but because I love Neggy and I considered her my friend, And then he just goes on to say basically that, the Washington Post coerced them to give, her telephone and try to get as much information as can, even though he knows the truth and he spoke to the doctors himself. So yeah, that's from her best friend. So, we're gonna go on to the next thing. Initially, Jen, the girl at the Washington Post, told me that I was gonna be part of the whole coach's article, but she kind of said that since I made that, long video kind of debunking all their bullshit, that there's going to be one specifically on me now. And I said, sure, go for it. And initially, she had interviewed Stephanie Fletcher, and then they found out that she was a pedophile helper and, all this stuff. So I guess they took that part out of the article because the people that they interviewed in the article was two stupid people that I'm going to show you guys right now. And and Jenna on the phone actually told me that, she tried to talk to a lot of my athletes, and a lot of them mentioned that I was a great coach and said nothing bad about me, and that she was going to include that in the article. But all I see is the one on India Paulino, where she says I'm a great coach and I have attention to detail, and she kind of the reporter left out all the other positive comments that my athletes said about me, obviously, right? Because that's not the whole point of this article. So the second part of this article, we have Charlotte DeBrand. She kind of just, where's this loser? Yeah, this girl. So that was a girl last year that said like I tried to massage her in a hotel room or whatever, and I made that whole video debunking and showing the exact receipts and the timelines of everything that happened and showed that it was physically impossible. And then everyone realized that, and she, kind of felt really stupid and kind of went off Instagram for a while. Obviously they interviewed this girl, and this girl has a lot of issues of her own, right? And her goal is to just try to hurt people, just like the Washington Post girl. So this is the person that they try to interview, all right, just to kind of go against me. She was supposed to do the Olympia amateur last year, and then she didn't because she relapsed on her alcoholism, and then, started blaming the disgusting Federation of Bodybuilding and said that she was disgusting. That's why she decided not to compete anymore. So I'm just going to show you a couple posts that she's made on her own Instagram account. So she goes, it's pretty nuts to see how my past drinking habits have magnified my ADHD in crazy ways. When I say that my hangovers deliberate me, I mean physically cannot function, mentally or physically, after a night of heavy drinking. So why the hell do I keep doing to myself? There's so many things I want to accomplish and so many goals I want to achieve. I was literally self-sabotaging my future every weekend, and then it would create a vicious cycle of recovery on Sunday, Monday, and finally feeling myself again on Tuesday, only to fuck over myself again on Wednesday or Thursday night happy hour. Then, of course, I would go out again on Friday, do it all over again because it's just what people want to do on weekends, right? Besides, I deserve to let loose on weekends, or so I thought. And when I beat myself up, I slip into a victim mentality and bitch about why my life is so terrible. But now that I look back on this vicious cycle, I can see that I just hurting myself and my personal growth in so many ways. People who achieve their goals and create incredible lives for themselves don't get blackout drunk every weekend. They just don't. I have made so many changes in order to align myself to reach my goals. This is another post. It's time to come out with this. I will not be doing the Amateur Olympia in 2 weeks. It's a long story, but I don't want to get into it. I'm disheartened, disgusted, and completely turned off from the competing ever again. If I would have known that the bodybuilding industry is this shady, I can truly say I would have never begun competing in the first place. So, this girl, she posts that she's always plays the victim mentality, and she's an alcoholic and her life is terrible, and then she goes to blame everyone else. She tries to make this hit piece on me just to get views, and it's just all this girl does is, and this was the receipts I had with the timelines. You guys probably remember from last year, and I just showed that it was literally she was in my room for literally 3 minutes. And then I had my other athlete come in. So everything she said that potentially happened was literally impossible because the timeline that she mentioned was fabricated and an impossibility based on my other athlete that came to check in with me 3 minutes after she was in my room. And this girl does everything for clout. Obviously, she's going to talk to the Washington Post, try to get more attention on her profile. She's an alcohol, abuser and a drug abuser, and she goes, I help women in their 30s create weight loss results in 2 weeks or your money back. This girl changes her bio every month just to try to offer some type of new service. First, she was like a life coach, and now she's like a weight loss coach, and before she was like offering competition coach. Like anything she could do to try to market herself and get attention, she's gonna do it. Her Instagram, she no one likes her comments on her posts. Like she literally replies to fake spam accounts on her post. Look at this. Wow, send a pic on the strong woman. Thank you so much. Look at this. Promoted on Miami Strout. Thank you. Much appreciated. Promoted on Florida Fams. I appreciate the love. Send Miami pic. This girl is fucking pathetic. Like, this is all of her posts is like this. And this is the girl, right? And, like, she was the first one to repost the Washington Post article when they went on J.M. Mannion and said he's a piece of shit, blah, blah, blah. And, this is the girl saying all these things that I, tried to massage her and stuff last year. And guys, let's be serious. That is the first person that they interviewed. Showing the credibility there. Second person they interviewed was Claude Gruel. He said that I was kicked out of Monster Gym and that I was putting girls on dangerous protocols, and that he ended up just leaving because Monster Gym wasn't the right place for him. Right. So this is a conversation I had with an owner of the private gym at Monster. I'm talking about Claude Gruel. So this is someone who's part owner at Monster Gym, and he goes, I said, what was the deal with Claude Gruel at Monster? He goes, I used to receive the strangest emails and private messages on our page. A woman wrote to me once that she was a rape victim of Claude Gruel. She said that she was raped by him several times as a client and that she feared for her life and was warning us to other clients. I said, Christ, yeah, I heard a lot of that too. Around the time I left Monster, he started getting back into heavy drugs and usage and got carried away. He goes, yeah, it was really messed up. Probably one of the most disturbing messages I ever. Yeah, Claude, when I left in, I think, like 2017 or 2016, he started getting back to heavy drug usage, and everyone that was around that time knows he became like absolutely fucking mental, and his personality and everything about him just changed in like a week. It was super weird. And I said, when did he leave Monster? He says, I think he left around 2019 when he moved to Florida. I said, yeah, that sounds right. And he says, he's also done some messed up stuff. And I had some female clients come forward that Claude was giving them health supplements, but turned out they were taking steroids and they had messed up their menstrual and reproductive cycle. So he was giving them pills and stuff that they didn't even know what they were. And then they found out that they were taking steroids from. So these are the two people that they interviewed regarding me. Right. And you can see the credibility. And you think the Washington Post, they have a lot more resources. And how many thousands of girls I've coached, and these are the two people that they're gonna come out with. Are you fucking serious? Like, there's so many people they could have reached out to, which I'm sure they did, but 95% of them are going to say, great things about me and my coaching, but obviously they're not going to include it in the article. And I want to mention something too. They mentioned that, I had 2 allegations in 2018 and I went to court and blah, 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 right? Yeah, they're right actually about that. And I actually won both the lawsuits. So here's the first one. I actually had a settlement out of court settlement with the first girl who lied and said that, I can't remember what she said, like I was abusive towards women or whatever. And, I sued her because I knew this was bullshit. This was just defamation that was coming out of absolutely nowhere. And there was no reason for me doing this. So, we stayed outside of court. She gave me $6,500, which is not a big amount, but it was just for the principle and knowing that she lied about, all this stuff and that I was not just going to take it and not do anything about it. And the second one too, which was actually in the news here, I won, Nadia and this other girl teamed up together, and this one said that I raped 29 girls on my team and that she had proof and all this stuff. I said, let's go to court, right? Let's show the proof. Let's see what you got, and obviously she didn't show up to court. I won the lawsuit, and the judge, made a statement saying that, girls can't just be making these statements to try to hurt men. And, especially when they have no validation, they have there's no reality to what they're saying. And I won a $25,000 lawsuit. So this is the judgment on the lawsuit. So she had to pay me $15,000 for moral damages, and then had to pay me $10,000 for punitive damage. So it's $25,000 settlement. Not a lot of money, but it was once again about the principle, and you can't just be going around saying these things about people. Shared the post on her Instagram account 15 days. I acknowledge that the statements I made about James Yat in the videos posted on an Instagram account in September 2018 are false. I apologize to James Yat for violating his right to dignity, his honor, and reputation. To my personal knowledge, he has never verbally, physically, and or sexually abused anyone. Moreover, to the best of my knowledge, he is a devoted personal trainer who has never paid his athletes to compete or paid bribes to athletes or any other person. So, once again, the Washington Post, with all of their resources and anything, they couldn't find this judgment. And there's actually a third person that they interviewed. I mentioned 2, but it was actually 3. And Lauralie collaborated with the Washington Post.
She knows the Washington Post is out there, the IFBB and the NPC, and hurt the bodybuilding industry. And it's so fucking dumb that she would collaborate with these people, but it's not surprising. And just she mentions here, Lauralie Chapados, once one of Ayat's high-profile athletes, said she was in a very unhealthy state. Last year, after following her coach's plan to severely restrict her calories, do 2 hours of cardio and daily, and take a cocktail of performance-enhancing drugs. So first of all, she admits that she was on performance-enhancing drug. I'm not going to say much about that. Anyway, so she goes, my mental capacity was just awful. Just not even a human being. Like, couldn't laugh, couldn't talk, couldn't even go to the bathroom, she said. So she's saying that she was completely exhausted and everything too. How about we compare how she looked last year with me, and how much life her body had, and how much excitement she had in her eyes, versus this past weekend at the Olympia, where her body was completely, soulless, and she looked completely physically and mentally exhausted. So I'm just going to go and leave it at that.
And I hope this kind of clears everything up. There's going to be more articles that they said that they're going to be posting about judging and this, and their whole goal is to destroy the IFBB and the NPC. And after seeing this Olympia weekend, how huge the expo was, how huge the audience was at the Olympia, how many athletes were on stage, Washington Post, you guys are failing. You guys are fucking pathetic, and you guys are not going to win. So have a nice day.